Good day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Ashwin Gunasekaran, the CEO of Penang Convention and Exhibition Bureau. I believe everyone have been in these difficult times moving most of your programs virtual and probably to a certain extent hybrid as well. Now, there has been many questions thrown to us. How did we actually overcome this particular pandemic? How ready we were, and what are our future plans moving forward? Now, Penang started off way before even the pandemic actually got to a serious stage. So there was very much pre-planning, and Penang has always been following through a tagline that we almost immediately came up with during the MCO stage. What you see here, ladies and gentlemen, Penang here for tomorrow. Now, as soon as the MCO was activated, we called in for an emergency meeting with the Penang State Government, and the Penang Convention and Exhibition Bureau put together a rejuvenation plan, which will begin from year 2021 right up to year 2023. Now, that simply means that whatever marketing and sales plans that we have already had simply cannot be used anymore. And we had to improvise, recreate new plans in order to fit the new normal. So the rejuvenation plan moves around three key areas. Firstly would be collaboration, secondly would be support program, and thirdly, digitalization. I will take you through each of these key pointers to give you an idea how this entire plan works moving forward. So let's look at the entire landscape. So during the post-MCO, we had the meetings and we had brainstorming sessions in order to identify how are we going to move forward with all our market segments. Now, what you see here is a plan that probably even now has changed to a certain extent, where some of these initiatives are even ahead of what we have scheduled. So national meetings and meetings and incentives for the Southeast Asia market, for example, was supposed to be taking place somewhat Q1 or Q2 year 2021. And moving forward from at least Q4 or even year 2022, that's where we are looking at the Asia Pacific meetings and incentives right up to global meetings and incentives taking place. Now, this entire calendar is based on a framework providing the pandemic is being controlled exactly as what we have predicted. Now, failing which, we will improvise this particular guidelines. As I said, some of the meetings have even gone hybrid, which is fairly faster than what we expected. Nevertheless, now if the numbers keeps on increasing and we have to go through another stage of halt, then these meetings would take a longer time to recover. But what we foresee is most of this meeting, at least more than 50% of these meetings, would definitely go virtual for that matter. So we started on looking at the key market focus, which began from year 2020 to year 2023. Now, if you notice why year 2020, this is really the preparation or the moving towards the 2021 rejuvenation plan. Now, what you see here are the key market, namely China, Japan, India, Thailand, Korea, and Taiwan, that is in our pipeline where we would like to activate. Now, this is purely based on collaboration in terms of knowledge sharing, ideas, and various other initiatives that we would trigger in order to work closely with this market, which will lead us to activating these markets as we move on to year 21, 22 and ahead. So we are looking at joint association meeting bids, we are looking at targeted calls, because if you look at how we work as a convention bureau, meetings are usually planned 2 years or even far in advance. At the moment, we are even looking at calendar as far as year 2026. Now, to activate trade shows, this falls at a much later stage. So I'm probably looking at year 2022. Now, again, all of this is based on an assumption that the pandemic is being well controlled. And of course, then we look at greater tourism that would complement our industry, namely would be the travel association conferences as well as filming tourism and whatever initiatives that has already been there with all these key markets. So as for the targeted sales calls, this is how we plan to move. Basically, it's on 4 phases. Phase 1 would focus very much on corporates, universities and associations, followed by phase 2 that moves slightly into the Southeast Asia as well as the Asia Pacific markets, and then the focus would be corporates, association and incentives. And for phase 3, this will take really some time, probably year 2022 or even year 2023 for that matter, more on global collaboration. So for corporates, joint bids, association with other convention bureaus. And last but not least is the G2G or government to government initiatives, where the key factor here is the air connectivity, as well as it is a driver for the entire economic sector. So how did Penang actually start preparing for this entire new normal, at least for business events for that matter? Now, it was a tall order in order for us to get everyone together, but I think at this point of time, everyone understands that we have to come together in order to move the industry. So very importantly is the engagement with the partners locally as well as regionally. We can't move this industry alone. It is a collaboration. We need everyone together. So to begin with, we started the first online forum, and this online forum was basically to give an idea how Penang will charter the post-MCO world. And there was a lot of good Q&As that came through this particular forum, and there was a lot of discussions that took place. And this was actually a good start because the state Exco for Tourism and Creative Economy was also present together with one of the associations that would be handling the Congress next year. And we also had a representative from the hotel sector. So I think we had a good audience of more than 200 people tuning in for a first forum, and a lot of ideas that came through. Now from this forum, we started activating engaging other online forums and being active with other markets. So we have gotten into even markets with India, for example. So all of this was via virtual talks, webinars, and the subject matter was really on rejuvenating the current industry and what are we going to do moving forward. So there was a lot of constructive ideas being collected. So this was really the pre-phase where we were moving immediately after the MCO itself. And we kept on updating online newsletters, and the brand Penang Here for Tomorrow has always been there, encouraging partners that we will always be there for them, to support them no matter what the situation is. And this particular update also was focusing on the current situation of the destination as far as the pandemic is concerned and how safe we are from time to time. we kept on issuing advisories as well. And this was also approximately, I would say, about 5 advisory messages and 1 solidarity message to Wuhan, which was circulated during the MCO as well as the RMCO period. Online marketing kept on moving, Instagram, Facebooks. So the idea was to continuously still engage the market and to tell the market, guys, we are still there, nothing have changed, this is just a pandemic everyone is going through, and we are still there for you. Now, the first key initiative, collaboration. So, how do we really want to start this collaboration with Asia Pacific? So, as I've mentioned the key markets before, if you still remember, China, India, Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, and South Korea. Now, we have started communicating with partners in these regions that I'm highlighting here on collaboration for the future. We have got online webinars where we have included partners from these regions. We have even done case studies with our partners. We have even looked at future bidding processes with these partners. So this is how we are basically setting strategies with our partners, and once the skies are open again, we would be able to enforce whatever that has been pre-planned. Now, collaboration is very important at this critical time because that is the only strategy in order for us to move together. So it is really collaboration over competition. Now, from that collaboration process, what we have done is to also look at collaboration domestically, or rather a destination collaboration. So we brought together about 29 members, PSAP members, to form a task force. Now, the task force was from all these particular sectors: the convention centers, hotels, unique venues, PCOs, PEOs, exhibition companies, DMCs, transportation, event organizers, and suppliers. Now, the reason why we formed this particular task force was simply to bring together and to produce a SOP. Now, these are the members that were part of the task force. Now, why we needed an SOP? Because as soon as MCO was lifted, there were too many guidelines and too many gray areas on what to do, what not to do, what can be done, what cannot be done. And probably a SOP of a logistics company would not fit into convention centers SOP. So there were gray areas crossing. So what we have done is brought everyone together and to come out with one voice and one understanding in order to produce this particular booklet for the industry. So I'm glad to say that it's a good 300-pager document, very comprehensive, even with a checklist where it is being updated every 2 weeks now. And what is even more key is that this particular document is endorsed by the Jabatan Kesihatan Negeri, and we do follow the MKN standards as well as updating this particular guidelines on weekly or every other week basis in order to follow through the national guidelines. So when you come into Penang, you have a comprehensive guideline to follow through, and whichever partners that you engage in Penang for the business events industry will speak the same language. So Penang was the first state in Malaysia to execute this particular guideline. Now, what was even more interesting was we launched these guidelines, and the guidelines was launched in a conference model. So we pretty much created a conference during this pandemic with SOPs in place, and it is simply to have an immersive experiential event with the necessary sanitization, health precautions, all taken into consideration, along with the next normal guidelines and SOPs that we have produced. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present a short video on this next normal guidelines launching. Now, soon after the next normal guidelines was launched, what we did was to engage with our partners. So we started visiting approximately 32 hotels, 7 unique venues to date, and still counting. And to ensure that our partners were in line with all these SOPs and they were following through all these guidelines. And this only created confidence to the market, confidence to the client that the destination is definitely ready for business during this pandemic. And it is very important, and the key word here I would like to emphasize again is destination. confidence. When the client has the confidence, the business will come in. And in order to build that confidence, it has to begin from us. And by us, I mean from our partners. What we also did was to carry on this messaging onto print advertisements. So we have got a large circulations of magazines. I'm quite sure you're familiar with some of these international magazines. And this exercise still continues until today on our initiatives, engaging our clients with the new normal guidelines. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why is it important for this messaging to be carried out throughout print ads or online ads? Now, I keep on telling all our partners that no matter what situation you are in, destination branding is crucial. People still need to know that you exist. People still need to know that you are in the game, and they need to know that you are ready for business at any point of time, of course, with SOPs in line. So Penang Here for Tomorrow was carried out throughout our branding campaigns, and we kept on updating this not only domestically or regionally, but it was very much a global marketing campaign, basically carrying the message that Penang is a safe destination to move business events forward. Not only that, but we also encouraged our partners to do the same and to carry out their very own promotion. So everything was about shouting Penang is ready and how Penang was ready through our partners. So simply for an example, looking at Jom Cuti Cuti Penang campaign, to encourage domestic tourism or travelers to come back. So once this particular movement starts taking place, the confidence builds up, and from there eventually the business will pick up. And again, all of this was carried throughout the social media and was again through a global marketing channel. It's simply Penang is ready to serve and support business events clients through this pandemic and beyond. So these are some of the advertisements, some of the media postings, and this were all solely from our partners whom were actively participating, and this was all in line with Penang Here for Tomorrow, and it was somewhat curated as a Meet in Penang package. So the idea, again, everything is driving back to the destination confidence. Now, moving on to the second initiative, we've done with collaboration, and that is how we collaborated with partners domestically, regionally, and even globally. And the second in line is support. Now, we have always had support programs for our partners. And during this time, we have just changed sites slightly, and we call it now the Enhanced Privilege Penang, where there are more perks that are being thrown in, and the guidelines are being a bit more relaxed. So I'm glad to say that we are accepting or providing support for groups as low as 20 person. So if you need more information on what this support is, please log on to our website psap.my, or you can even download the application on your Android or iOS and have this Privilege Penang support program downloaded, and you will have a detailed breakdown of how this support works. Now, if you're looking at incentives, we have even brought down the numbers right up to 50 packs onwards. However, if you have a number even below 50 packs, just let us know. We will be able to customize something for you. Now, not only that, but also where the support is concerned was also to activate what our partners were doing and what our partners were involved in, at least on a certain segment. What I have here is basically a batik printing process. Now, this is very much tailored towards the creative economy of Penang, and this is one of the MICE programs or post programs, or you can even call it a spouse programs that was there. And at this particular time, we are supporting our partners in providing that particular publicity and to engage back to what they have produced for the industry and how the industry can still relate back to these activities. Of course, the guidelines are still in place. Of course, the SOPs are there. However, such activities are still possible to be carried out. So in short, how do we look at moving business into Penang? Now, this is very much the future. If you ask me, when are we ready to move business into Penang physically, I wouldn't be able to immediately answer you. However, I would say that as of now, we do have more than 62 events that is expected to take place between year 2021 right up to year 2023. Now, these calendars are really looking very good, and these are all the markets that are on board with us. Now, the only concern for us would really be the sky regulation. We wouldn't know when the airlines would be active again. We wouldn't know what would the procedures be there in place to support this particular industry. But we are very confident that something will be in place, and we will be carrying out this conversation with our airline partners once they are ready, because we already have business for them. It is just how are we going to execute this on a safe manner in order to eventually have physical events, or at least a hybrid event in Penang. So, ladies and gentlemen, this pretty much sums up my presentation. If you have any questions at all, or if you have any ideas, any feedbacks, please do get in touch with us. You may log on to our website once again, psap.my, or even download our app on your iOS or Android. Be in touch with us, and if you need any form of support, any form of collaboration for that matter, do let us know, and we'll be more than happy to work together with you. Thank you.